Hi students. So today in this video we are going with the concept that is properties of inverse trigonometric functions. So till now we have came across the graph of inverse trigonometric function, what is the domain of inverse trigonometric functions and its principal value branch. So this principal value branch, which is one of the very important concept in this inverse trigonometric function concept, so which is very important as I already mentioned in the previous video. So we have came across all these in our previous video. So today let us move to some of the concept, that is properties of inverse trigonometric functions. So here the properties what I am mentioning today, it is very useful to solve all the exercise problems of 2.1. So today I am only concentrating upon the exercise 2.1, the properties which are useful for in the exercise 2.1. After dealing with the properties today, later we are going to deal with few more properties of inverse trigonometric functions which are very useful to solve most of the inverse trigonometric function concept. So in that first one, that is sine inverse of x. What is sine inverse of x? Another one is what is sine inverse of sine x. So these are the two things first we need to concentrate. So clearly sine inverse of x, by looking into this itself you can say that sine inverse of x is equal to x. Even here sine inverse of sine x is equal to x. But the question what arises, what is x here and what is x here? So before mentioning what is x in both the cases, writing sine inverse of x, it is wrong, and writing sine inverse of sine x is also wrong. So now let us understand what is x in both the situation. So clearly here sine inverse of x. So we know that sine function. So what is the domain of sine function? It is set of real numbers to the range. It ranges from -1 to 1. And what is sine inverse of x? Sine inverse domain and range. Sine inverse domain, it is -1 to 1 and its range is -π/2 to π/2. So now we know the domain and range of both sine and sine inverse function. So clearly if I say sine inverse of x means, now consider this sine inverse of x has one thing, that is sine of some variable. So sine of some variable means where does that sine function is going to be existed. If I consider whole this one as one x means, where does sine x is going to be lying? So if we take x from here means sine x is always going to be lied in which one? In the range of the sine function. So sine inverse of x means our concept, this x is going to be lied in which? In the range of the sine function. So here sine inverse of x, in this case our x belongs to -1 to 1. So that is nothing but x is greater than or equal to -1, less than or equal to 1. We can write in any way. Similarly here if I talk sine inverse of sine x is equal to x means, here also sine inverse of x. So sine inverse of x, where does it is going to be lied? Sine inverse of x, it is going to be lied in the principal value branch, that is in the range of the sine inverse function. If I take this one as whole one variable means, then sine inverse of x is going to be lied in this range. So clearly this function or the x value which is present here, it is going to be belongs to the way it is going to belong to -π/2 to +π/2 range. So in now you came to know where does the x belongs in this case and where does the x belongs in this case. Now let us understand how we are going to solve the questions when the question regarding like this arises means. For example, if I take sine of, regarding this one, sine inverse of 0, sine inverse of 0. where does that 0 is going to be belonging? The 0 is belongs to this range, right? It is belonging to within this interval from -1 to 1. So sine of sine inverse of 0 means what happens? It's 0 itself. That is what the property here it is saying. So sine of sine inverse is equal to 0. Suppose if sine of sine inverse of phi, if they have given like this, means what happens? Sine of sine inverse of phi, whether this phi is belonging to this interval. No, the phi is does not belonging to this interval. So when it comes sine of sine inverse of phi, that is when we get x which does not belongs to this interval, means that is a defined interval, means at that time this is not going to be determined. So this value is not going to be determined. Now let us see here in this case, that is sine inverse sine of, if I take now pi by 2. So whether pi by 2 belongs to this interval or within this range, yes, minus pi by 2 plus pi by 2, where pi by 2 is included. That's why closed interval. So sine inverse of sine x means what? X itself. So value is pi by 2. So since the angle which I have taken here, it belongs to this interval, we got this one. Suppose if our x does not belongs to this interval, that is from minus pi by 2 plus pi by 2. Suppose if I have written that is sine inverse of sine 3 pi by 2. So if I say 3 pi by 2 means obviously that 3 pi by 2 is not at all going to be present or lie in this interval. Now what happens this? In this case we can't write it is cannot be determined. So suppose the angles which we got here, suppose that angle does not belongs to our principal value branch, means then at that time we are going to transform that angle. So transformation of angle which we have already came across in the class 11. So we are going to transform this angle when that does not belongs to within this interval. So if I say, if I take this one as our x-axis and y-axis, so minus pi by 2 means what happens? This becomes our plus pi by 2, and this becomes, if we move in the anti-clockwise direction, means this becomes minus pi by 2 direction. So our value should be belongs within this range because our x is belonging to this principal value branch. So our whatever the value we are going to get here, that should belongs to within this interval, that is from minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. That is what the x is saying here. Since 3 pi by 2 is there, which is lying somewhere here, which does not belongs within this interval, now we need to transform this angle in such a way that it should lie within this interval. So now let us see how we are going to solve these type of question when that does not belongs to the given interval. So here what we are having, sine inverse of sine 3 pi by 2. So I can transform this sine inverse of sine 3 pi by 2 in such a way that our transformation, that is I can write 3 pi by 2 as pi plus pi by 2. And we know that sine pi is nothing but 180 plus whatever the angle. So sine pi plus theta, it is nothing but always, since pi plus theta, pi plus some value, it is coming under the third interval. In third interval sine is negative, so it becomes what? Minus sine pi by 2. And we know that sine of minus theta is equal to minus sine theta. So I can write here minus sine pi by 2 has sine inverse of sine minus pi by 2. So now this is in this form, that is sine inverse of sine x. You can see here sine inverse of sine x, in place of x we are having pi by 2. So sine inverse of sine x is equal to what? X. So our x is here minus pi by 2. So we got the answer minus pi by 2. Clearly this minus pi by 2, that is belonging to this interval. So this is how we are going to transform the angle when that angle does not belongs to the given interval. So this transformation is the thing which we have already learnt in the class 11th regarding the allied angles, transformation angles. So the thing is, you must have this concept very strong while solving all these questions. Then next is, now we have came across sine. Similarly, let us see for cos function, that is cos of cos inverse of x. What is cos of cos inverse of x? Another one is cos inverse of cos x. So clearly here again cos inverse of cos x is equal to x and cos of cos inverse of x is equal to also x. But what is x? What is x in both the case? That is the question. So clearly here what is x? We know that. Before writing that, let us write the domain and range of both cos and cos inverse function. So cos function's domain, it is set of real numbers. Range is from -1 to 1. What is the domain of cos inverse function? That is -1 to 1. And what is the range? Range is nothing but 0 to pi. So this is the range of cos inverse function. Now x means where does the cos x lies? Suppose if I take this whole as x means where does cos x lies? Cos x lies in the interval -1 to 1. So clearly in this case our x belongs to -1 to 1. Now what about here? Here again cos inverse of cos x. So where does, if I take cos x as x means where does cos inverse of x lies? Cos inverse of x lies in the domain of cos inverse function. What is the domain? It is 0 to pi. So our x here belongs to what? 0 to pi. So remember guys, while writing this one, that is cos of cos inverse of x, where does this x belongs? Writing this one is very important. You must know where does x belongs. Without knowing this one, you can't solve these problems at all. So that's why this matters a lot. So to know this one, you must know what is principal value branch of each and every function. That's why I mentioned this principal value branch of each and every inverse trigonometric function is very important. So now cos inverse of cos x, it is going to belong here. So that's what. Now let us see how we are going to solve the problems with the again here cos inverse of x. Suppose if x belongs within this interval, that is some 0.5 means our value we are going to get here 0.5 because that is lying within this interval. Suppose if I write cos of cos inverse of some 7 means since that does not belongs to this interval, we cannot determine that value. So this is regarding this one. Now what about this functions? Now cos inverse of cos x. Suppose it is lying within interval, we are writing like this itself. Suppose if I get cos inverse of cos 5 pi by 4. Suppose if I write 5 pi by 4. So 0 to pi means clearly from here to here. Because this is x-axis, this is y means this is 0, this is pi by 2, pi and 3 pi by 2. Anti-clockwise means minus pi by 2. So from here to here. So 5 pi by 4 means it lies somewhere here. So now let us solve how we are going to deal with this. So cos inverse of cos 5 pi by 4. It can be written as pi plus pi by 4. So cos inverse of cos pi plus pi by 4. So pi plus pi by 4. So that is going to be lied in the third quadrant, which is negative. Cos is negative in the third quadrant. So it becomes cos inverse of minus cos pi by 4. But we know that remember this is very important to understand when it comes to cos and secant function, that is minus cos theta is not equal to cos of minus theta. And even in the secant also, minus secant theta, it is not equal to secant of minus theta. So we can't write here. Some people do the mistake here itself by writing minus cos pi by 4 as that is equal to cos of minus pi by 4, which is not at all equal, because cos of minus theta, because cos of minus theta is equal to cos theta itself. So here minus cos pi by 4 I can't write as cos of minus theta. Then how we are solving this? How? So the thing is, we are solving that one in this manner. That is, we know that cos of, that is minus cos theta, this is equal to cos pi plus theta and cos pi minus theta. So when it is cos pi plus theta and cos pi minus theta, we are going to get negative of cos theta. So I am writing here minus cos pi by 4 has cos of pi minus pi by 4. Now you can ask, ma'am, here there are cos pi by theta also, cos pi minus theta. Why we have took pi minus pi by 4 only? Why can't we take pi plus theta? Look into the interval, guys. Look into the interval. We read it within 0 to pi. But here, if we take pi plus theta, means that will cross this interval. It will be like again somewhere here. But that is not we are required. So I am taking here pi minus pi by 4 because minus cos pi by 4, because minus cos pi by 4 is equal to this one, cos of pi minus pi by 4 with this allied angle property. So now cos pi minus pi by 4 we have written here. What happens pi minus pi by 4? 4 pi minus pi, it is 3 pi by 4. So cos inverse of cos 3 pi by 4. So now this is in this form, cos inverse of cos x, where 3 pi by 4, if you use the value of pi, you can observe here 3 pi by 4 comes in the second quadrant. So cos inverse of cos x, cos 3 pi by 4 is equal to 3 pi by 4, which belongs to the interval 0 to pi. So the thing or the main agenda is, when the angle is not within the given range or within the given principal value branch, means we need to transform that angle in such a way that we need to get our final angle which should belong to the principal value branch only. So that is the main agenda of solving all these type of problems. So another one of the important thing which we need to note down is, so as I said, cos of cos inverse of 7 is this type of question. That is, if that cos of cos inverse of 7, here 7, that does not belongs to the range that is from -1 to 1, so it is not determined. Suppose if in the exam like this type of question arises, that is cos inverse of cos 3 and or cos inverse of cos 5. So without thinking it in the twice manner, as we have said in the class, that is cos of cos inverse of 7, and this does not belong to this term, so it is not determined. We have said like that. So you, without thinking, you people write this type of question as not determined, not determined. But think carefully, guys. Here it was cos of cos inverse, but here cos inverse of cos. So both are different format. So if it comes in this format, think properly. So that is where does the x belongs here and where does x belongs in both the cases. So cos inverse of cos 3. So cos 3 means here cos inverse. What is the range of cos inverse function? That is 0 to pi. So what we are having 3. So whether 3 belongs to 0 to pi? Yes, obvious, because what is the value of pi? It is 3.14. So one more thing which you people need to be remembered. So one time I will say pi is equal to 180 degree, another time I will say pi is equal to 3.14. So what is the thing which you need to remember here is absolute value. The clear value of pi is, that is 3.14 itself. When we take the radian of pi, that is pi radian, that is radian of 3.14, at that time we are going to get the radian value or the value of 3.14 has 180 degree. So remember this one, you know, people, no need to confuse regarding this one. So value of pi, it is 3.14 itself, but if we take the radian of pi, means pi radian value is 180 degrees. So at certain times we are calling pi has 3.14. If we take pi radian, means we are going to get 180 degree. So here we know that pi value is 3.14, that is here. So 3, where does 3 comes? If this one is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, means 3.414 somewhere here. So 3 is coming within 3 between the 0 to 3.14. So this is belongs to this interval. So cos inverse of cos 3 is what? We are going to get 3 itself, because 3 belongs to this interval. But what about here cos inverse of cos 5? Cos 5. 5 means obviously 3.14 here. Our interval 0 to pi. 0 to pi means up to here itself. So 5 comes beyond that 3.14. So this one, if this one comes means, again here we are not saying it is not determined. So cos inverse of cos 5. So what we said, if like this comes means whether if this angle or this range which is not at all belonging to 0 to pi means, in this situation what we are using the allied angle concept, means we are trying to bring that angle which is going to be lied within this range. So what we are having here 5. So 0 to pi means, suppose if I write value of pi is equal to 3.14, what will be our coordinate? X, y. This is our xy axis. Here it is 0 means angle 0. Here it is pi by 2. Pi by 2 means if I take pi is equal to 3.14, at that time we are going to get 1.57. Here it is pi, it is nothing but 3.14. Here it is 3 pi by 2. 3 pi by 2 means 4.71. if I take the value of pi is equal to 3.14. Again coming here means it is 2 pi. 2 pi means if I substitute value of pi is equal to 3.14 means it becomes 6.28 something. So like this the value is going to be coming. So what we are having here, cos of 5. 5 means where? It lies somewhere here. So I can write now this cos inverse of cos what is that? 2 pi. 2 pi is 6.28. So cos inverse of cos 2 pi minus 5. I can write like this. So 2 pi minus 5 means from 6.28, if we take that 5 means we are going to get somewhat the remaining, what is remaining, that one. So our final answer, cos inverse of cos, it is nothing but 2 pi minus 5. So 2 pi, it is nothing but 6.28 minus 5. That is the final answer what we are going to be get. So this is thing why I included this concept to explain here, means you people should not be get confused with both these two type of question. And another agenda which why I explained here is to understand what is the meaning of pi and pi radian. So pi, it is 3.14. Pi radian means if we take the radian of value of pi, at that time we are going to get pi radian value is equal to 180 degree. So these two concepts are very important, one of the basic thing which you need to be known. So that's why I explained here this thing in brief manner. Next is the tan function, that is tan inverse of x. What is tan of tan inverse of x? Another one is what is tan inverse of tan x. So clearly in both the case it is x itself. Now the question is what is x in both the case. So we need to find what is x in both the case. So first let us understand what is the domain and range of both tan and tan inverse function. So domain of tan function, it is from the set of real numbers. I am taking those x is equal to multiples of pi by 2, that is 2n plus 1 pi by 2. I am taking all those multiples. So that is the domain of tan function, and it is ranging from this to set of real numbers. Then what is the range of tan inverse? It is set of real numbers, and the range of the tan inverse function, that is minus pi by 2 to not close open interval close, sorry, it is open interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Now tan of tan inverse of x. Again here tan, if I take this one as whole, x means tan x. Tan x means where does tan x is going to be lied? Tan x, it is going to be lied in the range of tan function. So what is the range of tan function? It is the set of real numbers. So what is x in this case? The x in this case is, that is x belongs to set of real numbers. Then what is here? So tan inverse of tan x, if I take tan inverse x, if I consider this one as x, means tan inverse x, where does tan inverse x belongs? Tan inverse x belongs to the range of tan inverse function. So what is the range of tan inverse function? That is minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So here x belongs to the open interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So this is the range. Now here, since here x belongs to the set of whole real numbers, whatever might be the value of x, tan inverse of x is equal to x itself. Now here, suppose if the x belongs within this interval, means tan inverse of tan x is equal to x itself. Suppose if x does not belong within this interval, at that time what? As usual, suppose if I take tan inverse of tan 7 pi by 3. If I take tan inverse of tan is equal to 7 pi by 3, means how I can write 7 pi by 3 as tan inverse of tan 2 pi plus pi by 3. At that time 2 pi into 3, it is 6 pi plus pi, 7 pi by 3. So now tan 2 pi plus pi by 3, 2 pi times anything is, that is we are going to get same angle. So tan inverse of tan pi by 3 itself. So tan inverse of tan pi by 3, where does that pi by 3 is lying? Whether it is lying within our minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Yes. So if this one is minus pi by 2 pi by 2, means our pi by 3 is somewhere here. So it is lying within the given interval. So tan inverse of tan pi by 3 is pi by 3 itself. So this is the problems how we are solving when with both the format of tan function. Now let us move to the cot function. Cot of cot inverse of x is equal to x, and cot inverse of cot x is equal to x itself. But when? What value of x will give us cot of cot inverse of x is equal to x and cot inverse of cot x is equal to x? We need to find at what values of x we are going to get the cot of this value is equal to x. So before that I have written the domain and range of both cot and cot inverse function. Clearly cot of cot inverse x, if I take this cot inverse as x, means cot x, where does cot x is going to be lied? Cot x, it is going to be lied in the range of the cot function. So clearly here x belongs to the set of real numbers. Then here what about the x value here? Cot inverse x. Cot inverse x, where does it lies? It lies in the range of cot inverse function, that is principal value branch. So here x belongs to where? X belongs to within the closed interval, not closed interval, open interval 0 to pi. Suppose if x belongs within this interval, that is from the open interval 0 to pi, means then this format, that is cot inverse of cot x is equal to x. Suppose if x does not belongs to within this 0 to pi, means at that time we are going to transform the angle. So how it will be? Suppose if I take cot inverse of cot 9 pi by 4. Suppose if I take cot inverse of cot 9 pi by 4, means what happens? I can write 9 pi by 4 as cot inverse of cot 2 pi plus pi by 4. Yes, what happens? 2 pi plus pi by 4, 4 2s are 8 pi plus pi, it is 9 pi by 4. And we know that cot of 2 pi plus theta, it is nothing but cot theta itself. So cot inverse of cot pi by 4. So now cot inverse of cot pi by 4, it is in this format only, right? So what happens now? Cot inverse of cot pi by 4, it is pi by 4, where this pi by 4, it belongs to this interval only, where this belongs to the interval 0 to pi, that is principal value branch. So whatever the angle, if it is not within this interval, means we are transforming that angle in such a way that our final value or the final angle what we are going to get, it should belong to that principal value branch only. Next is cosecant functions, that is cosecant of cosecant inverse is equal to x and cosecant inverse of cosecant x is equal to x. Here again, what is x in both the case? That is the thing here. So clearly here x belongs to the range of cosecant function. What is the range of cosecant function? That is set of real numbers minus -1 to 1 interval. Then what about the x here? Here x belongs to the range of cosecant inverse function. That is x belongs to minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 minus 0. So now you know what is the x value in both the cases. Suppose here if cosecant inverse of 0 comes means what? Here 0 comes, but that 0 is lying here, which is removed from the set of real numbers. That is, this interval is removed here. So where this 0 is lying between this interval, so here this is not defined or not determined. Suppose if we have cosecant inverse of 5 means, yes, it is 5 itself, because this 5 belongs to the set of real numbers which does not lie in this range. So 5. Suppose it is -5 means -5 itself. Suppose if I have cosecant inverse of -1 means what? It is equal to -1, because here -1 is open interval, where -1 is not at all included in this interval, but that -1 is included in this set of real numbers. It is excluded from this interval. So cosecant inverse of -1 is equal to -1. Similarly for 1 also. Now let us go for this one. Suppose if x lies within this interval means, then cosecant inverse of cosecant x is equal to x. Suppose if cosecant inverse of cosecant 5 pi by 4. So what does here it is saying? X belongs to what? Minus pi by 2 pi by 2. It is minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, where 0, this point is excluded. This point is excluded. So 5 pi by 4, it lies somewhere here, so it is not at all included within interval. So now what? We transform this angle in such a way that the angle should lie within this interval only. So how we are dealing with it? Cosecant inverse of cosecant, I can write 5 pi by 4 as pi plus pi by 4. So pi plus pi by 4 means 4 pi plus 5, it is nothing but 5 pi by 4. So pi plus pi by 4 means which quadrant? It lies in the third quadrant. So cosecant function in the third quadrant, it is negative. So cosecant inverse of cosecant minus cosecant pi by 4, and we know that cosecant of minus theta is equal to minus cosecant theta. So here minus cosecant pi by 4, I can write it as cosecant inverse of cosecant minus pi by 4. Now this is in this format, that is cosecant inverse of cosec x, where x is equal to minus pi by 4. So cosecant inverse of cosecant minus pi by 4 is equal to minus pi by 4, which belongs to our interval, that is minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 excluding 0. So this is how we are solving. You people must know about these things very clearly, and this writing, how we are going to write this into this format. After that one, allied angle concept, these things are very important to know, which we have already learnt. So next is secant functions. So clearly secant of secant inverse of x is equal to x, secant inverse of secant x is equal to x. But where does x belongs in both the case? It matters a lot. So here x belongs to the range of secant function. The range of secant function is set of real numbers excluding the open interval -1 to 1, and here the secant function x belongs to the range of secant inverse function, that is x belongs to 0 to pi minus pi by 2 angle. So here, since x belongs to set of real numbers excluding this means, so whatever the values which are lying between this one, suppose if I take 0.5 means which is lying within this one, here it is, the value cannot be determined. But suppose if we take any values out of that interval, that is secant of secant inverse of 7 means, I can write 7 because 7 belongs to set of real numbers. Then here secant inverse of secant x. Suppose if x belongs within this intervals from 0 to pi, excluding this pi by 2, that is if it belongs to within this interval 0 to pi excluding pi by 2 value, means then secant inverse of secant x is equal to x. Suppose if the value does not belong, suppose if x does not belongs to this interval excluding pi by 2, if it lies somewhere outside this interval, means at that time we are transforming that angle in such a manner that finally that x should belong to our principal value branch itself. So how we are doing, we can look it with one example. Secant inverse of secant 4 pi by 3. So clearly 4 pi by 3 does not belongs to this interval. So I can write 4 pi by 3 as secant of secant inverse of pi plus pi by 3. So 3 plus 4, yes, 4 pi by 3. So secant inverse of secant pi by 3. So pi plus pi by 3, clearly it lies in the third quadrant. In the third quadrant, secant function, it is negative. So secant inverse of minus secant pi by 3. But we know that what secant of minus theta is not equal to minus secant theta. So we know that, I have already mentioned in the before itself. So secant of minus theta is not minus secant theta. So I can't write here minus secant pi by 3 as I can't write this one as secant of minus pi by 3 because both are different. So I can't write this one. So how we are going to deal with it? Clearly we know that minus secant theta, it is equal to secant pi minus theta, and this one is also equal to secant pi plus theta. So clearly I can write now secant pi minus secant pi by 3 has secant inverse of secant pi minus pi by 3. Why I have taken pi minus pi by 3 only? Because look into the interval, if I take pi plus pi by 3, it will be excluding or coming out of that interval. For that sake I took pi minus pi by 3. So it becomes secant inverse of secant 2 pi by 3. So 2 pi by 3, it lies somewhere here, which comes within the interval, that is from 0 to pi minus pi by 2. So secant inverse of secant x, now it is in this format only. So I can write this one as 2 pi by 3 only, where this belongs to our interval 0 to pi excluding pi by 2. So this is how we are going to deal with it. So this is the properties, the 6 properties which we have learned today. It is purely based upon the all trigonometric functions which are in this format, that is sine inverse of sine or sine inverse sine, where both our here function, that is the function which is within the bracket and outside the bracket are inverse on the original functions of the same function. So all these properties are very important in solving like this question, and how we are going to transform the angles, it is very important. Suppose if you don't know to transformation of an angle or allied angle, and how we are by looking into the question itself, how we are dealing with it, whether we need to take pi minus theta or pi plus theta, all these things are very important to understand here. So all these things are already learnt in the class 11th. So go through those concepts once again. So at that time you will make clear upon these concepts. If you are clear with it, then these are the damn easiest thing. So this is the thing about the properties which are useful to solve the exercise 2.1. So after solving the exercise 2.1, there are few more properties of inverse trigonometric function which we are going to study in details in that section. So this is regarding the today's concept. Suppose if you have any doubts regarding any of the questions, or any not questions here, any of the concepts, or how to solve any of the problems, means you can ask me at any time. So go through the video properly, pause and understand the concept. That's all students. Thank you.